State security tightening this holiday week in the wake of the French attacks. Communities across the United States conducting drills, checking their communications, preparing for any scenario. I want to bring in CNN aviation correspondent Renee Marsh. And Renee, on top of all of this, we're expecting the busiest Thanksgiving travel week in years, right?
Right, John. This Thanksgiving, we will see the highest volume of travelers since 2007. I want you to take a live look now at the view. Those are all of the airplanes in the sky right now over the United States. And as people are on the move, cities nationwide are on alert, ready to respond to any potential attacks.
Can you help, please?
The frightening scene played out at an abandoned New York City subway. Two active shooters, one wearing a vest rigged with explosives. This was only a drill, but it's a scenario police around the country have to prepare for.
Obviously, suicide belts in Afghanistan and Iraq, and now most recently in Paris. So I thought it was most appropriate to introduce that.
The Department of Homeland Security tested first responders and NYPD's response to a terror attack on mass transit. The results of the training will be shared with law enforcement nationwide. Nearly 47 million Americans are expected to travel by car this Thanksgiving, and an additional 25 million will fly on U.S. carriers. As the volume of people on the move increases, more officers and canines have deployed to potentially vulnerable sites. At train and bus stations, there are increased patrols. In major cities like New York and Washington, riders should expect random bag checks. Bridges and tunnels are also being closely monitored. There's also concern ahead of New York's Thanksgiving Day parade and the city's tree lighting ceremony.
We know of no specific credible threat of a Paris-like attack directed against the U.S. homeland. We are, and we continue to be, and we have been concerned about copycat-like attacks.
Outside major concert venues and stadiums, there's also more security. In Atlanta this weekend, bomb-sniffing dogs and officers patrolled the WWE wrestling match at Phillips Arena.
As long as terrorist organizations are calling for attacks in the homeland, we've got to all be vigilant and work overtime.
Passengers traveling by air should expect longer than normal wait times. Expanded screening of items on planes began Friday at overseas airports with direct flights to the United States. At domestic airports, expect TSA to spend more time inspecting passengers and luggage. Random checks, hand swabs to test for explosive residue, and additional checks at the gate. Even pre-checked passengers may be required to remove their shoes and laptops. Well, CNN has learned today that 13 passengers who got off a flight from Mexico to New York's JFK airport on Friday bypassed U.S. screening. Now, Customs and Border Protection is still trying to track down 3 of those passengers. We know an airline worker at the gate didn't realize it was an international flight and allowed those passengers to enter the domestic terminal. Now, all of these passengers and crew had been pre-cleared to board the flight to the United States and had been checked against the terror watch list. But again, this is happening at a time when the airports are supposed to be on high alert, Berman.
Yeah, heightened sensitivity to be sure. Renee Marsh, thanks so much.